In the future operational environment, the equipment composition of PLA land navigation is changing with more and more new helicopters entering service. In particular, the upcoming service of the WZ-21 helicopter has raised concerns about the strategic transformation of the PLA's land navigation. Although WZ-21 will be ushered into service, but there is a voice that believes the PLA must strengthen the equipment of heavy armed helicopters to adapt to the needs of future war. What is this about? Heavy armed helicopters, as the name suggests, usually refers to helicopters with strong combat strike capability, as well as load capacity, able to undertake long-range strike, precision strike, anti-tank, anti-ship, and other tasks. The PLA land navigation in modern warfare, especially in the ground support, anti-tank operations, and air combat, and the increasing demand for heavy armed helicopters equipment, is undoubtedly the key to enhanced combat capabilities. First of all, the combat mode of modern war has undergone fundamental changes. With the arrival of information war, the enemy's air defense capabilities, anti-missile systems gradually enhanced, the traditional fixed-wing fighter aircraft and the close-range combat advantages have declined, especially in the low-altitude surprise defense, flexible mobility, etc. The advantages of straight rotary-wing aircraft is more obvious. Heavy armed helicopters have strong firepower and high mobility, so that they can play an important role in complex environments. For example, heavy armed helicopters can not only carry long-range anti-tank missiles, but also be able to carry out a variety of tasks such as anti-ship, countermeasures, electronic warfare, and play an irreplaceable role in the enemy's ground armored forces in a dense area. Secondly, the PLA land navigation in support of ground combat, often facing complex and high-intensity battlefield environment, especially in the area of the enemy air defense network, is dense. Heavy armed helicopters are able to carry heavier weaponry and more ammunition by virtue of their larger payload capacity, which gives them an absolute advantage against the enemy's heavy armored forces. Compared with light-armed helicopters, heavy-armed helicopters are able to suppress enemy air defense systems more effectively, provide stronger fire support for ground forces, and improve overall combat efficiency. With the complexity of the global security situation, the operational environment of the future war will present more uncertainty and challenges. The traditional form of ground war is undergoing transformation, and air-ground integrated combat is gradually becoming mainstream. Especially in the case of complex terrain, the enemy and our power contrast, heavy armed helicopters will become an indispensable combat tool of the PLA land navigation. In the high-intensity, high-speed combat environment, heavy armed helicopters of multifunctionality and high load capacity to make it have a stronger adaptability. For example, in future wars, the complexity of urban warfare, mountainous combat, and cross-border combat will require heavy-armed helicopters to have a high degree of flexibility. Compared with fixed-wing aircraft, the advantages of helicopters in these combat environments are more and more significant. Heavy helicopter gunships are not only capable of responding quickly to battlefield needs, but also of maneuvering in complex environments to perform quick reaction missions and strategic strike missions. In addition, with the enemy's investment in modern air defense systems, the survivability of the traditional helicopter gunships in low-altitude combat has been challenged to some extent. In this context, heavy-armed helicopters not only need to have strong strike capability, but also need to have stronger survivability. Modern heavy-armed helicopters are usually equipped with advanced stealth designs, electronic countermeasures, which enable them to survive longer in the enemy's high-intensity air defense network and perform critical missions. For example, heavy-armed helicopters can be equipped with high-precision guided weapons, such as laser-guided anti-tank missiles and air-to-ground missiles, enabling them to accurately destroy key enemy targets in long-range strikes. However, as the combat environment becomes increasingly complex and enemy air defenses are strengthened, the PLA must rely on equipping more heavy-armed helicopters to improve operational flexibility, mobility, and strike capability in order to better meet the challenges of future warfare. There is also the fact that heavy-armed helicopters, as a kind of air-ground integrated combat platform, are equipped with a variety of advantages such as long-range strikes, rapid maneuverability, fire support, etc., and are able to play an extremely important role in modern warfare. High load capacity. Compared with light armed helicopters, one of the biggest advantages of heavy armed helicopters is that they can carry more and heavier weaponry. Heavy armed helicopters can carry a variety of weapons such as long range precision strike missiles, anti ship missiles, rockets, and other weapons, with a strong long range strike capability. Powerful fire support. Heavy armed helicopters can effectively support the Army forces, especially in the execution of anti-tank operations, can be carried through the heavy anti-tank missiles, precision strikes on enemy armor targets. With the development of modern enemy tanks, the PLA needs to rely on heavy helicopter gunships to ensure the suppression of enemy heavy armor, especially in an environment of dense enemy air defense systems. Superior survivability. Modern heavy helicopter gunships are usually equipped with advanced protection systems, such as active protection systems, infrared countermeasure systems, and anti-missile systems. These systems are configured to enable heavy helicopter gunships to better evade threats in the event of an enemy attack, thereby increasing operational survivability. Flexible tactical use. Heavy armed helicopters have strong mobility and can flexibly perform a variety of tasks in complex battlefield environments. For example, they can carry out rapid maneuvering, low-altitude infiltration, rapid strikes, and battlefield reconnaissance, and other tasks. Heavy armed helicopters are also able to cooperate with other types of troops to form an integrated air-ground operation, greatly enhancing operational efficiency. PLA land navigation equipment heavy armed helicopters is to adapt to the future development of war and tactical needs of the inevitable choice. With the constant changes in the combat environment of modern warfare, especially in the context of information warfare, heavy armed helicopters, with their strong fire support, mobility, and multifunctionality, have become an important weapon in the Army's aerial combat. And the PLA land navigation must be equipped with heavy armed helicopters in order to improve the overall combat capability, and to ensure that it has the key advantage of victory in complex and high-intensity battles.